In looking back at my career, I was so very, very fortunate to have received a number of significant awards. And they track from early parts of my career right to the end. One of them that I'm especially proud of is to be the only civilian recipient of the Army Air Medal for, as a civilian, as a Foreign Service officer, flying and commanding and directing helicopter combat operations in Vietnam. I'm also extremely proud that in 1992, President George Herbert Walker Bush designated me as one of the very few Foreign Service officers who would receive the Presidential Distinguished Service Medal. This is the highest award given to State Department diplomats for exceptional achievement in foreign affairs. Now, usually this is going to the Deputy Secretary, Undersecretaries, Special Envoys, ambassadors at very big countries. I was Deputy Assistant Secretary of State. That's the third or fourth level down. Rarely, ever, is an officer at that rank receiving the Presidential Distinguished Service Medal. And I received it for my work on accounting for POW MIAs, for negotiating access to prisons in Vietnam, negotiating access to Cambodia, getting information from China, being part of the effort to get information from Russia, search Russian Soviet prisons. I was so extremely proud to receive that. At my retirement in 1999, I was presented the Secretary of State's Award for Heroism and Valor for life-saving rescues I carried out in Vietnam, 4 of them, and then also for driving without any guards, without any armed assistance, without any escorts into the fighting that was raging in civil war in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, to go and protect Americans, protect Mormon missionaries, and find and protect other Cambodian Americans who were at great risk. I received the Iowa Award, our state's highest citizen honor. I was only the 23rd person in all history of our great state to receive this medal that had been previously presented to Herbert Hoover, Henry Wallace, George Washington Carver, Norman Borlaug, John Ruan Sr. To be considered by our state, by Governor Terry Branstad, who nominated me for this, Governor Robert Ray, who so actively supported me for this, and to have it presented to me in the World Food Prize Hall of Laureates in May of 2014. Such an incredible, incredible honor and recognition. In my last year at the World Food Prize in 2019, I was so incredibly honored when the Aegis Trust, an organization in the United Kingdom that seeks to confront and prevent genocide around the world, said that I would be only the second person to ever receive its highest award, the Stephen Krulis Distinguished Service Champion of Humanity Award, given in recognition of my work in identifying the Khmer Rouge, sending a warning about them and their genocidal policies, and then ultimately confronting them and eradicating the remaining elements of it. And to fly to Rwanda, a country that had experienced an incredible, devastating genocide, to have a ceremony there with a formal announcing of the award, and then traveling to the United Kingdom and to be in the House of Lords and have members of the House of Lords presenting this award to me, my family members there, my daughter, her husband, other students who had gone through our World Food Prize programs, who were then studying in England, able to be present. An incredible moment as to receive this high, high honor. And then in December, just a few weeks before my retirement, I traveled to Slovakia, flew to Vienna, Austria, where I had served in the mission to the United Nations, where my daughter was born, and my wife and I and 2 members of the staff drove to Bratislava, and there in a small ceremony I would be presented the Peace Prize from Slovakia, created 5 years earlier, had been awarded to Pope Francis, had been awarded in memoriam to President John F. Kennedy, to Charles de Gaulle, to important leaders in Slovakia and in Eastern Europe, to officials from the OECD who are maintaining peace through development. And I gave my address there in Slovakia, my final public address, Peace Through Agriculture, that theme that had linked my career for 52 years. I'm so exceptionally grateful to have received all of these awards and recognition. Also things like the Arnie Rafel Award for my mentoring young officers at the State Department. Something I've continued. I'm so proud of all the young people through the World Food Prize whose careers I've helped shape and recognition that they've achieved. And to have had Secretary of State Madeleine Albright write about my embassy in 1999, just as I was leaving, and to remark how, even though it was a small embassy, it was the most decorated embassy in the world. I had nominated so many of my officers and staff for awards, and which they had won, more so than the biggest embassies, because awards and recognition are so important to motivating members of your team, just as I was motivated and inspired by the awards that were presented to me over my career.